like to call this meeting of the West Allis West Milwaukee School District to order. If we could please rise for the pledge. Mr. Keller, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Suzette, can you do the roll, please?
Mr. Schultz.
Present.
Mr. Ustra.
Here.
Mr. Bailey.
Here.
Mr. Keller.
Here.
Ms. Klug.
Here.
Mrs. Justin.
Here.
Mr. Sikic.
Present.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
President.
Here. Proper notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin. Do we have any additions or modifications to tonight's agenda?
I have nothing.
Any board members? Okay. Do we have any public comments scheduled for this evening? No public comments scheduled. All right, we will then jump into item number 7, the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you. So on the legislative update, the board has a copy of it, but I'll make just a few highlights. So there's some review and a study committee of the school trust funds. That's where we get dollars that support our libraries, so the school funds. It also is the trust fund also provides loans. And so that's all being reviewed, and we're going to watch that closely because there are dollars that come to the schools. But I think it is time that gets looked at again. So there's nothing new at the federal level, and just some news of interest. So there's a 50th annual Phi Delta Kappa poll where public supports more funding for schools and teachers. And what's interesting is that nearly 2/3, 66% of those surveyed say teacher pay in our community is too low, while just 6% say it's too high. And it's something we've been talking about, and that's one of the goals we've set for this year is to look at our compensation models. And then for the first time since the question was asked in 1969, a majority of respondents, 54%, say they would not want their child to become a public school teacher, often citing poor pay and benefits among the reasons. And I think that's unfortunate. I think the perception around what the work is like and what people are compensated, as part of our challenge in the pipeline for attracting great people to classrooms. But it's work that I loved as a classroom teacher, and I've said this many times, the most fun I've had in my career was when I was a classroom teacher, once I had figured out how to do it well. At first, it wasn't fun, but once you get good at it, it's joy. Right. That's like, you didn't train me for this. Right. The governor, I think you've heard, is seeking to expand youth apprenticeships, meaning going all the way more into high school and even down to 7th and 8th grade students, and so we're very much supportive of that. And then lastly, the School Administrators Alliance has submitted a set of questions for the 2018 gubernatorial candidates, and that listed there, so the way we're engaging to learn more about the candidates' positions. Then on to the district recognitions, and this is a little bit of a change, and this is really Beth's inspiration. Instead of, litany of the athletes, which is important too, and all the things, we're doing a little more of an organic approach to getting kind of the story of what are the positive things going on, and so there's a shared Google Doc, and principals are asked, so what happened in the last few days, few weeks, that you'd like to have recognized at the board meeting. So we've got quite a list for our first time through. So at James Dotke High School, they opened the Dotke Closet, which, with the help from volunteers from Brook Life Church, so that's food and clothing for students and their families. At FLW, they were recipient of a generous donation of school supplies from Toshiba America Energy Systems Corporation. Pershing, Mann, Jefferson, Franklin, and Wilson were recipients of generous donation of backpacks and school supplies from the West Allis Rotary Club. At West Milwaukee, they received 375 backpacks filled with school supplies donated by the Salvation Army, which is, more than one per student, which is awesome, because then you have extras and kids lose things or new students arrive, they don't miss out. Horace Mann Pershing Longfellow Elementary Schools were the recipients of a generous donation of backpacks and school supplies from the village of Manor Park, and that was organized by Virginia Struckle, who we all know. And then in addition, Longfellow Elementary partnered with the Ridge Church for Gear Up for School, so backpacks worth close to $50 could be purchased for just $5. And all the money from those went right back to Longfellow. At Madison, they were recipient of generous donation of school supplies from the Crown Plaza Hotel in Wauwatosa. Hoover Elementary received an $800 donation from the Ridge Community Church to be used for field trips for students. And then also Hoover's PTA was awarded a $1,000 grant from Mathnasium to hold a family math night, co-planned by teachers and staff and Mathnasium. They bring in all their kind of really cool math games, and it's a great way for us to help parents understand the mathematics we're trying to teach kids, and also they do a really professional job with it. The treble choir at Nathan Hale High School has been selected to perform at the Wisconsin Choral Directors Association Convention. That'll be in January 2019 in Appleton, and that was by audition that they were selected. Bobby Foreman, out-of-school time program recreation specialist, has successfully implemented and started the AM Action program at 11 elementary schools with close to 400 students enrolled in the program. So it's a little bigger than we anticipated, and that's up and running, and I haven't heard anything other than lots of appreciation for having figured it out. Shelley Strasser, the Director of Recreation and Community Services, will be presenting at the National Recreation and Park Association Annual Conference in Indianapolis, and that is this week. So a little different take and a little different way for us to tell the story of all the really cool things that are going on. And then just...
Marty,
Mhm.
I just wanted, this was Beth's idea.
Yes.
I just think that this is tremendous. I mean, the athletes, like Marty said, there's nothing wrong with the athletes, but we read about them in the paper. This is the stuff that the community needs to hear about. Maybe this is a vehicle that will get it there, because they need to know about the good things that are going on in our schools.
Yep.
This is really
Will this be
good.
posted online as well? Yeah, okay, so.
Yep. So thanks to Beth. Awesome. Then updates and information items. There were no public comments at our meeting on August 27th. I want to just do a personal and special thanks to all of the facility staff and Steve Rohde and his team and our pod leaders and cleaners. And I've been in all but 4 buildings so far, and places look amazing. If you get out to Hale, just stick your head into the gym. Not the auxiliary gym, the old gym that is now bright, shiny new. The floor's been redone, and all the new lighting, it makes it look like a lot more happened in there, so they did a beautiful job. And then at Franklin, all new flooring in the entry that now matches the walls that were painted last summer. Just really inviting, welcoming spaces. Mitchell did an interesting thing last week. So it was a deeper learning project, a school-wide project about how you can solve problems using boxes. And I had an opportunity to go out and walk through and talk with a good number of students, and they did some very smart differentiating and scaffolding of the process and the kinds of questions they asked different ages of kids in order to engage in the project, right? So even the K-5 students were solving problems with boxes, but they had a different set of questions they had to work through by the time you got to 5th grade. So I think it was smart, lots of activity, and I asked Ryan, I said, your custodian's aware of this, right? Because they're gonna have to work lots of extra hours, because it was messy, but good messy, right? So one of the first kind of school-wide deeper learning projects of the year. The board will note that we've updated the list of board topics and workshops, so we've worked a number of them in. I just want to point out one for that asked about reviewing the athletic GPA requirements, and we're going to ask that go to committee first, because I think we want to clarify that what questions and information do we want to gather before we bring it to workshop. We thought we'd use some board members to help clarify some of that as a first step. And then CISA requested an increase in the number of seats at Parkway. And so they're working with the city, and there's no urgency to this at all. They just thought, well, things are going really well. So they're going to ask the city to approve under their special use permit going from 80 students max to 100 and from 7 student parking spaces to 10. I've talked to Mary Gavigan about it. She said, again, there's no urgency, but they see the need, and while things are going really well with the neighborhood, they still have lots of neighbors coming to volunteer. I was there today, so when I was over in the neighborhood, I count that as kind of one of our schools, sort of. So I just poked my head in, and kids were out, playing out in the beautiful, area that's part of Parkway, and walked through classrooms, and things seem to be going really well there. And so we want to see that continue and grow. And then, like I said, I've been in every single school except 4. I've got to get to Shared Journeys, Dotke, Wilson. Oh, maybe it's only 3. I had one more. Sorry. But we'll get through that. I try to get all of those within the first couple days of school, but we've been interviewing for the Director of Finance and Operations position. The second round interviews will be this week with three, I think, talented but very different candidates. So we'll have more information about that at the end of the week and through my regular communication to the board. And that completes the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. All right, we will go on to the review of the board calendar. So if you will take a look, today, Monday, September 10th, is a regular Board of Education meeting, and following that, we have a College and Career Readiness Workshop on the Achievement Gap Reduction, AGR. Next Monday, September 17th, starting at 5:30, we have new teacher meet and greet, so if you're able to come early, please do, and meet some of our new staff. There'll be light refreshments. At 6 o'clock is our public budget hearing, the budget hearing on the 2018-2019 school district budget. Following the conclusion of the budget hearing, we will have a recreation and community services workshop, an update on the construction of the new recreation center. On Monday, September 24th, beginning at 6 p.m., we have our regular Board of Education meeting, and following that, we will have a all-board workshop on safety in our schools, a new update with grant funding and all of that updates there. And then on Monday, October 8th at 6 p.m. is our next regular Board of Education meeting and a workshop which we are going to do a board development retreat, for lack of a better word, with Drew Hork from Howick and Associates. And then one additional item for the board is we are going to recruit 2 people to serve on the City of West Allis's Youth Commission. Those meetings are held on Mondays, which is in conflict with our own meetings. So last year, and I think the year before, we've split that and allowed 2 board members to serve there so that people could divvy that up and not have to miss regular meetings. So we'd be taking volunteers for this under the caveat that I'd like to have somebody who didn't serve last year do it, and somebody who's not up for re-election or up for election this spring, because they facilitate a board workshop and interview the candidates. So we'd like to try to avoid that potential conflict of interest. So if you are interested in that.
Dan and I served last year.
Dan and Noah served last year, and I don't remember who served the year before. I think it was Sue and Gail.
Is myself.
Gail.
And Gail.
Okay, so if you are interested, you can email me after the meeting if you don't want to raise your hand now, and then we will get you all the details on how to participate on that committee. Do any board members have any updates, community events, things that they'd like to share? No?
Yes, I had the first meeting for the WAWM Opiate Task Force, and I just wanted to point out that on September 25th is going to be the fall parent and community event. It's at Hale, starting at 6 o'clock, and it goes till 7:30, and basically they go through many different topics for the parents in the community, issues ranging from, prescription drug use to they have the mock teen room there to see what to look for the hidden signs of drug use. So I think it's very important, not only for parents, but also for community members, because it does go quite the gamut. So I plan to be there. I just wanted to mention that.
Great. Anybody else? Heather?
The West Allis Wave has a dine out at Peanut Butter and Jelly Deli tomorrow from 3 to 6. And the owners are alumni, so we're not only supporting our kids, we're supporting alumni.
Great. Anybody else? All right. All right, we will go on to item 9, the consent agenda. Item 9.1, the approval of minutes from the August 27th, 2018 regular Board of Education meeting. Item 9.2, the employment summary, and item 9.3, the supplementary contracts. We would need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, been moved and approved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. We'll go on to action items. Action item 10.1, Board Policy 111, School District Goals for 2018-2019, a second reading. Dr. Lexman.
Yep, so the board reviewed this policy during its first reading, and this is one that comes before the board every fall. When we update goals based on last year's performance, keep the goals aligned to the 5-year targets in the strategic plan. And with your approval tonight, this will lock in the goals for this school year that then triggers the work of school improvement plans that align to the yearly goals, so that we keep kind of that internal coherence working from schools to the district to the strategic plan to the board.
No?
Were there any changes from the first reading that we approved to the second reading?
No.
All right, others be looking for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, been moved and approved and seconded. Any additional comments or questions? Not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Any additional, now taking into account the updated board workshop calendar, are there any additional new board member suggestions for future agenda items, future workshops? And you can always email those if you think of something after Monday evening. Okay. All right, so we will take a quick 5-minute break while we take down the cameras and go into workshop. We are at recess.